Welcome back to the graveyard, everybody. My name is Mads, and today's topic is going to be all about a TikTok that I stitched earlier. Earlier today, I was scrolling along on TikTok, and I happened across this video.
I just spoke about this on Twitter, but I feel like with the outrage right now with AI and everyone saying like AI is taking away from real art and AI is making art instead of the artist, but like everyone's so outraged about AI taking over art, but people cannot stand to see artists be human. And I feel like it's neurodivergent people who are making the art. It's the weird people. It's people that are awkward and a bit cringe and step outside the box a bit. And I'm not saying all of them, but I'm yet to meet a neurotypical person who makes incredible art. It's always neurodivergent people. But the second people see them be a little bit cringe on the red carpet or say something stupid, or they're not masking in an interview where they look like they're being a fucking bitch, or they look angry or upset, or maybe they can't dance on stage, or maybe they're just being weird. It's like scrutinized and people are outraged and it gets memed and made fun of.
I'm not playing the entire thing because it's a long one, but you basically get the idea based on that. And I, as an artist, agree with her a lot. I know that I haven't done as much art content on this YouTube channel as I have other forms of content, but for anyone who needs a reminder, that is my full-time job right now. I am an artist. I make things and sell them online. I do commissions. I go to Comic-Con and work in Artist Alley. That is what I do. It's what I know. And she brought up a fantastic point, and it's something that I've actually seen happen in real time. A lot of people who are not just artists themselves, but consumers of art are very much sticking up for us right now, and we do appreciate it. They're saying all this AI stuff, it's not okay. It's not consensual in most cases. They're just kind of taking stuff from people without asking permission and then making a profit off of it. And unfortunately, because there aren't any real solid laws or rules in place when it comes to AI, this stuff is just running rampant and we're the ones suffering for it. And people are able to get away with it. They're losing their court cases and stuff because what do you do if you can't bring up a specific law and say this law says this and they've gone against it? How are you supposed to win? You know, it's pretty much just up to, does the judge think you're right or that the thief is right? And again, in some cases, it's kind of tough to prove the art theft because while each individual artist does create a wholly unique piece of artwork that is an expression of them, there is some overlap, you know? There's people whose styles are very similar. So if the AI generator didn't actually pick up on your signature or something, sometimes the judge might just not even believe you. And even the general public might not believe you. So as I just mentioned before, it is very nice and very refreshing to see people going to bat for artists of various kinds. And it isn't just people like me who do digital artwork, painting, illustration, animation, anything like that. It's also singers who are struggling right now. It's actors. It's anyone in any form of art that's having a hard time because AI screws all of us over. And it's hard to not think about the fact that it can screw us over in life, but it can also do that in death. I mean, everyone saw the SAG-AFTRA strike. What not everyone knows is that the A-listers involved have said that they're satisfied with the offer, but people underneath them are not. Smaller actors who are still up and coming right now or who are part of indie movies and stuff are really unhappy because there is a point in that agreement that basically says you need to agree to have your likeness scanned, like your body and your voice, so that they can use it whenever they want to. And it's too vague. Everyone's saying it's too vague. There's not enough explained detailing why they want this. They can claim it's because, oh, well, if we've wrapped up filming and you're off filming some other movie right now and we can't get a hold of you and we need to redo a shot, it'll be so much easier. You won't have to worry about, dropping that and flying back or anything. We can just use AI. That's your word against theirs, though. What is the proof that you won't use that to do something nasty, like just put them in an entire movie and not have to pay them then? And then you think about posthumous stuff. Say that it is somebody who was controversial. Maybe it's somebody like Laverne Cox, that some people just decided they don't like her and they don't want her to act anymore because she's trans. Say that she passes away and somebody uses AI to copy her likeness and her voice so perfectly. It looks like her, and make her say just the most despicable thing possible. She's not there to defend herself now. So it's that poster's word against her family and friends on whether or not she actually said those things, and she can be canceled posthumously, which can make things really difficult for the minority groups that she is a part of. And the other part of that TikTok that I found really interesting is that the girl who made it was going on to explain that for everyone who is supporting all of us now and saying, yeah, stop AI, we don't think that it's right, we don't think that it's being used for the proper purposes and people are getting hurt by it, they do rescind that support pretty easily. Like she said, all it takes is someone with a bad mental health episode or someone with a disability like autism or ADHD having a meltdown, and people just decide they don't want to support you anymore and they can destroy you. As artists, we need our fan bases in order to survive. Not even just to thrive, but to survive. We don't make any money and we don't pay our bills if people don't like us and what we create. And for as many people who try to separate themselves from their art exist, it's tough. I mean, we live in a digital age where people want to know who's behind the art. So you kind of become a part of your brand, whether you want to or not, in a certain sense. People sit there dissecting every tweet, every Instagram post, every description of a YouTube video or a TikTok video to try to find a secondary meaning, especially if they don't like you for any reason. They will look for anything they can to say, I don't know, the wording of this to me, that means this. I think they're anti this or pro that. And they will just run with it. It's already scary thinking about that to begin with. And she mentioned that a lot of people who are artists, especially full-time artists, are people with disabilities, people who are neurodivergent, people who are queer, people who are part of minority groups who already aren't treated very well in society. And she's not incorrect. Now, obviously, I do know some people who do not fall within those confines, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, there's even an active joke at one of my artist alleys that I always attend because the entire row, for the most part, is neurodivergent. Many of us are physically disabled in some way too, and most of us are queer. It is like a big joke that is so funny that the entire row falls into those confines. And a lot of us decided this was going to be our full-time jobs. One, because obviously we love it. Like anybody else who chooses a career path, it's because you're passionate about it, something you enjoy doing. But the other is because most 9-to-5 jobs do not accommodate us. Most 9-to-5 jobs are not wheelchair accessible. And even if they are, the interview process isn't wheelchair accessible. Then you get into neurodivergency. And a lot of businesses do not know how to deal with someone with ADHD or with autism. And that is how the general public is too, because they're not often around people like this. So let's make a hypothetical situation to explain to you what I'm talking about. Say we're in that Artist Alley group that I was talking to you about before, and something happens that triggers me. And there's myself, and I also have my fiance at my table each time. We have a lot of fans who attend sometimes just to see what art we've created that time and to purchase it. They love the art, but they also like us as people. They tend to linger and have chit-chats with us as long as we're, able to have them with them. And say that it's a group of people, say a group of 5 friends or so that always come and visit us. And they've got armloads of stuff that they're buying. And they're saying hello to my fiance on the other side of the table, and they decide that they want to come down and see me. But I've been triggered by something. Something set me off, and I am going into a meltdown. First off, a meltdown is not something that you can control. It isn't as easily controlled by methods that are used to calm anxiety attacks. You are not in control at all of what you are doing. I personally tend to go semi or fully nonverbal, which makes me feel crazy because I want to be able to communicate what's happening to me. I want to be able to talk to whoever's around me and tell them how they can help me, but I physically can't. And it's already difficult knowing that. And then on top of it, there's always someone saying something like, What do you need? What can I do for you? What's going on? And I physically cannot answer them. My brain won't let it happen. And I'll start doing things like this and stuff. Or if I can vocalize something a little bit, I don't want people in my bubble. I'm stressed out. The more people I see around me, the worse I get. So while I am still verbal, I'll say something like, please get away from me. I need everyone to just get away from me. There's too many people here. Say that I'm in the middle of doing that when that group of 5 customers comes down, and they take that as I'm being unfriendly, I'm being a dick. They just think that I am one of these nasty entitled artists that thinks I'm all that and, they're beneath me or something. They take it the wrong way. And then they go on Reddit and they go on Instagram and they go on TikTok and anywhere that's going to blow up and go viral. And they say, you guys know that person that's at table blah, blah, blah at this Comic-Con? Well, you should stop supporting them. And everyone, of course, goes, oh, why? I've never had a problem with them. Well, the last time I saw them at Comic-Con, they were so rude to me. I've always spent so much of my hard-earned money. I work overtime like the weeks leading up to Comic-Con just so I can buy their stuff. And this is how I was treated. And of course, our memories are not perfect. And everyone is going to perceive a situation differently. So they may have seen it as much more dramatic and much more unfriendly than I meant for it to be, or that I even saw it as. They may see it as much more off-putting and nasty than my fiance and my friends at the tables around me saw it. And who am I to say how they should and shouldn't feel? I understand if someone catches me in a meltdown and they take it really personally that I was being unfriendly, but the problem is, immediately you have already this he said, she said kind of situation where I can come onto that Reddit post and say, hey, I am the artist in question. I'm really sorry about what happened, but this is what was happening. And they might not believe me. They might go on to say, well, I've never seen any diagnosis for you being neurodivergent or anything, so what's your proof? And what caused the trigger? Like, how can you prove you were in a meltdown? You weren't just being nasty, because I've seen meltdowns. My cousin is neurodivergent. They have meltdowns, and that's not what theirs look like. And now you have that ableism spiral going down. And this is a problem a lot of disabled people have to deal with in the real world, but especially online. It happens online way more often than it does in person, where we are put in an impossible situation where either we need to divulge very deeply private and personal medical information about ourselves that in some cases even family isn't aware of yet. And then we're putting ourselves in a situation where people know way, way too much about us. Or we have to say, no, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm a disabled person. I don't think that I owe you anything. And then people call us a liar. It's not a good situation to be in. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because now anyone who believes that group of 5 who decided that it wasn't a meltdown and I was just being nasty and unfriendly can rescind their support. So not only have I lost the sales from those 5, but also from anyone who agrees with them and sides with them. And for all I know, after just this one post, I could be out my rent money, I could be out my grocery money, I could be out my electric bill for that month. I mean, I could lose a lot. And it is scary knowing that everyone around me, all of my customers, all of the people who are fans of my artwork have that kind of power. It's up to them whether or not I fail, and they can cancel me whenever they want for whatever reason they want. And it's really unfortunate. I'm glad they have some degree of power because it does hold a lot of us in check, because some people, let's face it, once they're big influencers or they get really famous from their art or something, they can get really nasty. They can get, a huge ego and treat their fans like crap, and that's never excusable. There's never a good reason to treat the people who made you what you are like dog shit. But at the same time, sometimes I think they have a little too much power. Outside of cancellation for reasons like that are beyond our control, we can also easily get canceled because people build parasocial relationships around artists. It's not just influencers online. It's not just celebrities. They do it at Artist Alley too. And I know I'm about to hurt some people's feelings, but your favorite artist in Artist Alley that you make a point of getting a ticket to see, that you go and visit the table of, and you chat for half an hour with them every day of the convention, and you buy like $80 worth of merchandise, that artist is not your friend. They're not. They're doing customer service, good customer service. That's why they're treating you really nicely and in a friendly manner. They need to make sales off of you. They might naturally be a nice person. They may appreciate your sales. They may appreciate your conversation and you as a human being and like you, but that doesn't mean you're friends. And if that person's having an off day or a mental health episode or an emergency with their disability or a meltdown, and you take that personally like a friend hurt your feelings, that's a you problem, not an artist problem. And you are not entitled to that person's medical information or mental health information either, just because you think they're your friend. If that person's not voluntarily divulging information to you about their personal life, it's none of your business. I mean, sometimes I'm in absolute shock by the information people who are customers in Artist Alley think they're entitled to. There are people who even think it's okay to ask where you live after a few rounds. If I have not seen you outside of a convention, deliberately, giving you my phone number, talk to you outside of that customer service setting, we are not friends. Again, I'm sorry, I know that's going to hurt some people's feelings, but it's just how it is. There's a difference and a separation that needs to be made between that customer service interaction and a true friend in real life. And I don't think everyone understands that. But yeah, I mean, the long and short of this video is just, I liked that TikTok a lot. I think that it helps people understand the power they wield. And I think that a lot more people who are being very supportive of the arts and artists as a whole right now and the anti-AI movement are wonderful, but I also think it can be taken a step further. Make sure you're holding yourselves accountable as well and each other accountable. Make sure that people aren't using that power for the wrong reasons and that you are using it to further help us with what we need help with and not using it as, ooh, I can dangle cancellation over you whenever you say or do something I don't like, But that's all I've got for today. Hopefully you learned something from this video. And as always, do something that makes you happy today, as long as you're not hurting anyone in the process. And I'll hopefully see people soon.